Megan and Aiken. Right now, your host. And again, you don't want to know what's going on in Aiken. You want to know what's shaking in Aiken. And if you've been listening to my podcast, I always love all my guests, but I'm so excited today. Been trying to have him on the show for a while, but he's so busy. But he gave us some time this evening. Coach Steve Hibbets. So you may be saying, who is Coach Hibbets? Well, he is our new coach at Aiken High School. And if you don't keep up with high school sports, Aiken High has been in a bit of a funk the last few years. And Coach Hibbets, I don't think we've won a game in 2 years, 3 years. What was it been?
You know what? I didn't even look. I don't even because I try to stay away from that because
Good. Okay. Well,
I try I think it's been a couple years, but I'm not sure. But yeah.
And here he comes and takes over the Aiken High job, which we'll talk about. And they won their first game last week. So, Coach, thanks for coming on the show. And how are you doing tonight?
Doing great, man. I really appreciate you having me. This is an honor for sure.
Now, if I'm correct, you're actually an Aiken native. Is that right?
That's right. So I grew up. I was born at Aiken Hospital a long time ago,
Right.
and
Yeah.
grew up on the south side, actually, over Virginia Acres, right there, near South Aiken High School,
Right.
and then ended up moving out to when I was about 8 or 9 years old. We moved out to Graymere Hollow Road out in New Ellington. Finished up out there. Went to Silver Bluff. So yeah, and I spent. Actually, I'm a USC Aiken grad as well. So
Good.
yeah,
I am
I
too.
love Aiken.
I am
Yeah.
too. Go Pacers. So,
Yes,
so,
sir.
so,
Yes,
uh,
sir.
so did you play ball at the Bluff?
I did. Yeah, I played football and baseball at Silver Bluff. Yeah, probably. It's funny. We watch how many times teams throw the ball now. I was the quarterback my junior year, and I think I kid with the guys now. Like if we threw it 3 times a game, that was wide open for
I
us.
know. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, that was
What,
that. That
what,
was back in the '80s, and we just had really good players, and I was really good at turning around and handing it to really fast dudes. So.
well, I played at Aiken High in the mid '80s, and even though we were either 3A or 4A at that time, and you guys were 2A, I think Silver Bluff won 9 out of 10 times. It was unbelievable how good that
Yeah,
program
but
was.
I tell you what, I do remember like there were some battles. I know my junior and senior year, like those were I think we my senior year we beat Aiken in overtime at Aiken. Yeah, it was always so close. And I those that's what always that was one of the things that just like really I thought about Aiken. They're always just such tough kids.
Yep.
And that's one of the reasons I wanted to come back here.
Now I know you were assistant at North Augusta for several years, and then where was your first head coaching gig?
All right, so I kind of I've been if you know I'm sorry my laptop is it just told me the battery's getting low, so I'm gonna
Okay,
if you
yeah, we don't want to
I'm
lose
gonna
you there.
plug this in real quick. Yeah, so I spent 5 years in Midland Valley. That was my I mean well actually 1 year at Camden right out of college, uh and then 5 years in Midland Valley, and I loved it in Midland Valley too. That was where I student taught and all that, and learned a lot under Coach Knight and Coach Criswell there. And then I wanted to get that first coordinator job, so literally just went out on a limb and applied everywhere, and I ended up at Westside and Anderson in 2001, and I owe a ton to my wife for that. Like I was at Midland Valley and I loved it there, but my wife she's always been just totally been in my corner and just really said, you know what, you can do more, and
Good.
that really just even though I didn't believe in me, she's always believed in me, and she really and that turned into actually just a learning experience, going up there to West Side for 5 years, and ended up back at North Augusta when Coach Pippen came to North Augusta,
Right.
and I learned a ton from my coach I learned a ton from Coach Knight and Coach Criswell at Midland Valley, and then when I was at West Side and Anderson, Coach Luckadoo, and then coming back and learned a ton from Coach Pippen as well. And then my first head coaching job was in 2010. I'd been at North Augusta and we'd had some success, and West Side and Augusta came open, and it wasn't one, I wasn't even thinking about crossing the river, but that job came open late in the year, and I'd interviewed at a ton of places, and you really that first head coaching job, you don't get many chances because a lot of people don't want to take a chance on a first year head coach. So that came open, and they've been struggling, and it took about 3 or 4 years to just really get it back to where they were in good shape. And then Lakeside opened up in 2014, and that's how I ended up at Lakeside. And I was at Lakeside for 11 years.
And as my understanding, last year, were you coach of the year last year for the
I
5A?
was so I was I listen, I that coach of the year stuff, my wife gets on to me because she says stop being so humble. But I just like you got to have good players. You got to have really good players. And we had a special team last year at Lakeside, just special players, and they were just so good to be around. And they were on top of that, they were just excellent players. And I did end up 5A coach of the year, and I think it was just because like the previous year we didn't even make the playoffs. And we were very fortunate. Ended up making the playoffs. We won our first round game, but then we got we went and played Houston County. Well, they came to us and they put it on us. And Georgia football is yeah, it's no joke. Yeah,
I actually saw a stat that per capita, Georgia has the most players in the NFL right now, which I can believe. It's a whole different beast than Carolina football.
it is. But at the same time, I think it's just because it's so big. Because Carolina football is, I feel like it's just as good. It's just not as many schools.
Right.
They don't have the big pockets of you don't have your big Atlanta area or your South Georgia and all that. But I would if it were a numbers game, apples to oranges, and it weren't comparing it that way. South Carolina is just as good. It's just not as many good schools just because of the population.
So you go 9-1, you're coach of the year. How many people said, Steve, are you crazy to go to a school that hasn't won a game in 2 years? So what did you tell those people?
Well, you know what? I only had like two people say that. A
Okay.
lot of people, I don't, I guess when that season was over, I kind of knew that was probably my last year at Lakeside, just because God felt like God was talking to me about many things. And then I just went to some Aiken games last year because my daughter was dating a player and we came to some games and to be honest, I've interviewed for this job in the last 10 years or 11
Oh,
years.
really? Okay.
This
Fine.
I'd interviewed twice, I think it was, because my son actually graduated from Aiken High School while I was coaching at Lakeside. So I'd always kind of had an affinity for Aiken, and I just knew I saw what it used to be, and I know when I coached against them. When I was in North Augusta, our first 3 years there, our kids did not want any of Aiken. And I knew there if you could just get the right group of men in there around these kids and just get them to believe in themselves, I just knew it. And I just felt like He told me this is the place I should be. And through my family and all that stuff. And yeah, I just kind of, there really was never a doubt, to be honest, even in the process. And it what I looked at it and said, I just look at it as a huge opportunity. I looked at it as what it could be, not at what it was. That's why you asked a while ago about their record. That really didn't concern me because I kind of have enjoyed that part of coaching is trying to take a place that maybe is struggling and just help them believe in themselves. Yeah, so that's where we are, and that was the reason I took it.
So my daughter graduated from Aiken High a few years ago, and one day she was bemoaning the fact Aiken High kept losing. I said, honey, let's look at the Aiken High record book for the last 25 years. And she did. And she's like, Dad, we used to be a powerhouse for years and years and years. So, yeah,
Yep.
I knew it was there. It was just needed
Oh
the
yeah.
right man. So, we're so
Yeah.
glad you came. So, how was it coming over here, being fresh in front of guys that didn't know you? What challenges did you face with that?
Yeah, there weren't any challenges with that. The only challenge was like, getting out of my contract over at Lakeside. And I was fortunate that district worked with me to be able to do that and come over here. For me to go ahead and come over in the building last semester, that was huge. I could go ahead and I think I got here in March, early March, and just to spend 3 months around the kids already rather than driving over here after school, that was big. Just to see what the school is like, because every school has its own culture, its own identity, and just to be in the hallways, that was huge for me. And I like my degree is I've got a biology. I taught science for 20 years before I got my PE certification, so I was able to pick up a couple of science classes, and be in the building. And so it was just learning the kids and learning how they did things and just seeing them. And that was huge, being able to learn the kids for sure.
So how was it last week? You guys were on the road, and you took a lead 7-0, then 14-0 at half. Like, did you have to calm them down at halftime, saying, "Hey guys, don't get ahead of ourselves. We still got a long way." How was it to deal with them?
Well, you know what? I did say that, and some of the coaches were saying that, but also what was cool was a lot of the players were saying that too. I walked in the locker room and I heard at least three or four players say, "This ain't over yet." And that to me, that's a sign of maturity. That's a sign of we got a great group of seniors. We got 13 seniors this year, and I can't do nothing but like praise them because like to stick around after going a couple of years with not doing too well says a lot about their character and just their love of football and their love of each other. And they were some of the main ones in the locker room saying this ain't over yet. And of course we drove it home as well, but that was cool to because just to watch them grow is very cool.
Yep. So how was it in that locker room and the bus ride home afterwards?
It was awesome. I even told my wife and I told the coaching staff. We had some big games at Lakeside and some big games at Westside, and you can't really compare. But like I was just so excited to see the kids see some. You don't often get some immediate results like that when you do what they've done over the past 7 months. And it was cool to see that because I was concerned if they didn't see some results fairly quickly, then some doubt might kind of creep in. So that was really cool to see. And the bus ride home, that was a 3.5 hour or 3 hour bus drive. And I don't think they stopped talking.
Right.
Occasionally they go to sleep. Some of them go to sleep, but then they started back up again. And, just let them enjoy it. And we told them enjoy it for about 24 hours. And then, that's the way football season is. You got to get ready for the next opponent, which is Airport. So,
Yeah, so for the
a very
listeners
good
out
team.
there, Aiken High played a game basically almost in Myrtle Beach. They had to go all the way across the state and play this game. So I'm sure, what time did I get back? Like 2 in the morning?
Yeah, we got back at 2. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So now this week you play Airport. How do you get these guys to get grounded a little bit? So, okay, guys, that was a great win, but we got a new team we got to have to face.
Yeah, what's really odd, I mean, not odd, but so Ainer runs Ainer runs like if you for those listening or whatever that know Navy and Army, the flex bone offense, that's what Ainer ran. So for them to throw it 3 or 4 times a game, that's a wide open game for them. So they like to smash you in the mouth and just like keep the ball on the ground. Airport is completely opposite. They're what you call an air raid team. So like they're going to be in four wides and they're going to throw it probably 85% of the time.
Yeah,
And so it's going to be a totally different type of look. So we had to shift gears on how we play defense. Offense, we're pretty much going to do what we're going to do. But yeah, with total switch up. So now we gotta make sure we can stop the ball going through the air and make some plays.
right, right. And what kind of offense do you run? More run, more pass, 50-50? What do you do?
So this is really cool. I love this. And again, it goes back to the coaches that are working with these kids and the kids themselves. So we spent most of the summer running kind of like a shotgun spread type of offense, still running the ball, but being able to throw it. And then as we moved along, we saw we had some really good backs, and our offensive line is really good as well. We do have good receivers, but I was like, man, we have this many backs. Why don't we kind of go back to what Aiken used to do? And so we literally, like last week, we were in spread formations like shotgun for probably about 25% of the time, but the rest of the time we were in flex bone. We were under center. We run, the old Aiken offense. For those out there that remember that, it
That
was
is the Reagan offense. You're right.
ground and pounds, flex bone, and our kids love it. And to me, like when we probably have about 5 or 6 just really, really, really good backs. So I'd be a fool if I didn't say, hey, let's get these kids on the field and get the ball in their hands.
Well, folks, we know it's Labor Day this weekend. Maybe going to the lake, maybe going to the beach, but if not, go out to Aiken High on Friday, see the Hornets, Saturday, sit around. We got football all day long. Got Clemson the late game. Sunday, we got Carolina at 3:30. Monday, we got a game. So enjoy football at that time of year. Wives, I'm sorry. It starts, okay? So that's just what we have. So, Coach Hibbett, we wish you the best of luck, and we'll hopefully we see you at Hagan Stadium.
All right. Hey, just a couple of things about the game. I'm not. I told the kids when I took this job and the staff, I don't do boring. So like, I got an idea this past weekend. I was like, let's make this an event. I want every game at Haygood to be an event. So like I said, I put some on Facebook. I said, if you got a motorcycle, a Harley Davidson or anything like that, come out here and let's let the kids ride out or walk out between the motorcycles. So I think I got about 15 or 20 people signed up already, and we're going to do something cool pregame as well. We got a brand new stadium. We got a brand new scoreboard, sound system. It's going to be fun. So we don't do boring at Aiken.
I like it. I like it a lot. Sound fantastic. Well, thanks so much, Coach. Hey guys, if you listen to the show, you know that I'm a real estate agent. So I came across some interesting numbers I want to share with you. So South Carolina last year per capita was the largest state getting people from other states. So what I came across is the 5 states that people most often move here from. Okay, let's see how many you can get. 5 states people come to South Carolina from. Okay, number one is pretty close by. In fact, it's a border state. Yes, that's Georgia. Georgia is number 1. And that makes sense. I mean, Augusta's right next to us. People come from Atlanta, Savannah. You know, the borders the whole state, so that makes sense. Number 2 might surprise you. It's our friends from New York. That's right. New Yorkers have been coming here for some time. I have had a lot of New York clients, but they're the second most populous people that come here. Number 3, Florida. Now, why Florida, you wonder? I mean, Florida has low taxes like we do. They have very good weather like we do. The big problem has been that with all the hurricanes in Florida, it's difficult, if not impossible, for people to get hurricane insurance down there. If they do get it, it's very, very expensive. The condo market in Florida is actually doing very poorly right now. We got some people who like to move here, but they have to sell their condos. So Florida is number 3. Number 4 is California. Now, folks, I'm from Aiken. Up to 5 years ago, I don't think I'd ever met anyone who'd moved to Aiken from California. That is certainly not the case these days. Probably once a week I meet someone from California. And I ask those people, why would you leave that state? They always say the same thing. Cost of living, the affordability here, the politics, and the strong arm of government controlling their lives in California. We, on the other hand, have very good cost of living, low taxes. We're fairly independent, not interfering with people, and that's the big draw for people in California. And the last one, and this surprised me because they must not come around here because I've only met a couple, but Illinois. So Illinois is the 5th of the states people moving here. I have a couple people from Illinois, but most have been the other 4. But that is our top 5 of people moving here from other states. So thanks for listening to the show. Thanks so much for Coach Hibbets coming on. I hope you guys have a great Labor Day weekend. And again, if you're in town, go and see a high school game. Aiken High, South Aiken, whoever it is. And just remember, you don't want to know what's going on in Aiken. You want to know what's shaking in Aiken. See you next week.